Welcome to Happier ADHD. My name's Marley Darling. I'm a second generation neurodiversity expert with over 17 years experience, and now I'm raising my own neurodiverse kids. You'll notice that I call the podcast a few different things, but we always explore these same topics that I've been looking at for the last 17 years. Psychology, mindset, neurodiversity, personal development, health and well-being, business, parenting, and more. So, without further ado, let's jump in. Hello and welcome back to the ADHD Energy Empress podcast, the podcast where I talk about how to make little shifts that have a big impact and really use ADHD strengths and a little bit of smart thinking to change the way we do things, to make things work for us. Not necessarily trying to find strategies to help us achieve the things like everybody else achieves, but to live the most fulfilling life possible for us, for life to go smoothly and to achieve the things that you want to achieve and really live the life that you want to be here living. So I'm all about finding easy, simple things that have massive impact and doing things in a very special ADHD way, rather than finding strategies to help us do things how everybody else does things, because I think that we're just a little bit different and it's not a good thing or a bad thing, it just is. So I take a very empowering approach to ADHD, and my name, by the way, is Marley Darling. I've been studying my own brain and psychology and personal development for the last 17 years and really putting things into practice to find what works and what doesn't and to get to the heart of things. I'm really interested in neuroscience and understanding how things are actually affecting us on that deeper level, and then also putting that into practice as well. I've been coaching for about the same amount of time, about 17 years. First started coaching my friends when I was younger. It's just something that comes so naturally to me because I believe at my core that you get one life here. You get one life and everything you do has an impact. Everything you do is a choice, and if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. If you just go with the flow, you'll end up somewhere. But if you change even just this tiniest little thing for the better, your life can change in amazing ways. It's like the flap of a butterfly's wings can make change around the world. I'm pretty sure the original saying is about creating a hurricane, but let's think of something more positive. Maybe that flap of the butterfly's wings is creating big wind and big waves for surfers on the other side of the world, or helping a child fly their kite or something like that. So, by the way, I have ADHD myself, and I like to say I cope pretty well with it. I've been working on strategies in my own life for, like I say, 17 years. So I have a pretty good handle on how to function, and if I have a challenge, I generally know how to get back on the horse pretty darn quickly. The one thing I do struggle with is consistency in business, and that's because I have a lot of other things going on. If you're familiar with spoon theory, that is about acknowledging that we only have a certain amount of energy for things throughout the day. My business coach likes to call it energon cubes, which I think is super cool. I like energon cubes. And there's also the saying of having to put things on the back burner. I've heard it said that there are 4 burners in life. I'm pretty sure. I know one's family, one's career, maybe one's social, and one's health. I think those are the 4. And that context that I heard it in was that you can only have 2 turned up at the same time. And when you turn one up, the other one has to turn down. It's kind of like if we're juggling too many balls in life, we are bound to drop one. So if you of feeling like you can't manage all areas of life at once, that's something that I heard from neurotypicals, that there are 4 burners in life. You can't have them all turned up at once. It's just not possible. So we can focus on, they say, 2 areas in life, or we can have everything going half-heartedly and just keep it all chugging along. So in terms of consistency in business, that's usually the first thing to go for me. I have been really good with it in the past, but we had some massive life changes last year. And on top of that, I've been learning the ADHD strategies with business and getting better at it, getting better at knowing myself, getting better at just in general. As a solopreneur, you can't do everything. Anyway, I'm not here to teach business tips, but I undoubtedly will because I have a lot of them. But there is a reason at the moment that I'm not teaching ADHD business, because I don't have all the strategies there myself. I could do it. I could definitely do it. But the thing is, my priority is my children. I'm a single parent raising 2 kids, both on the autism spectrum and with ADHD, and they are beautiful, smart, intelligent children with a whole lot of energy, and I homeschool them, and I am with them 24/7. I don't leave them with other people because they're a lot, you guys. They are a lot. I love my children. And we are working on building a little bit of independence and keep working on their social skills and their emotional regulation and their trust of other people and their attachment styles and their separation anxiety. And they have been through a lot in their lives on top of being neurodiverse. So I've always homeschooled them. They've been with me pretty much every day of their lives up until now, and I manage and I do pretty well, and I don't get burnt out because I have strategies in place to look after myself, to have a break, and when I am chugging along in business, it's moments like this usually. That this is how I do it. I sneak off, they're happily playing, I'm recording a podcast episode, I don't have anyone watching them, I'm not doing anything special. I just decided, you know what? I want to get back to recording the podcast. So at this point in time, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to move forward. I need to move forward in some way because I have an entire program there on ADHD parenting. It has everything that I use, everything that I've learnt that helps our life flow smoothly, that helps us get along, that helps us manage the neurodiversities in a way that's really empowering for everyone and works for us. That's there. It's online. It's everything is there in that course. But the marketing is where I get stuck, and that's where I'm going to work on. And I'm not going to promise, like I have the last few episodes, that I'm going to be consistent with the podcast. But my idea is to just jump on and kind of be a little in the style of Happier podcast by Gretchen Rubin, where I share with you what's going on in my life, what my goals are, what strategies I'm using. And I'm thinking that this could work really well because I think about this stuff all the time, every week. But when it comes to recording podcast episodes and putting things on social media and all that kind of stuff, I think I need to have a topic. And starting with the topic and then trying to think of all the things that are relevant, all the things that I can tell you, doesn't feel as natural as if I was just bringing things up. I talk with my friends, I journal stuff out, I'm focusing on personal development and how I'm going to work on the challenges we're having and set goals. I do all that so naturally, so really it shouldn't be much to sit down and share with you how things are going at the moment, what strategies I'm trying out, and how they've been going. I just need to keep some notes probably throughout the week to remind me what I've spoken about and what strategies I said I'd try and come back and tell you about them. So that's my idea, and I would love to get it nice and structured. I personally love the Happier podcast because it's got a really clear structure and it makes it easy to listen to. And I'm sure it makes it easy not to waffle on as a host. But honestly, I didn't sit down this evening with a plan. I was actually just thinking about different things that are going on in life and how I'm going to strategize around them. And then I thought I could talk this out. I could record that podcast I'd been thinking about doing. So one of the things that is going really well is that I'm tracking my food. I got an app called Chronometer, and I am tracking my nutrients that way and really working on having enough protein and iron because I'm a vegetarian. And I love this app because there's a barcode scanner and I can just scan the food in really easily. There's a lot of options. It's just a great functional app and I love the data it gives me. And it's just, it's easy to use and it's really helping me feel motivated towards meeting my nutrient needs every day. When you get to 100%, it turns green. So I love that. It's great. For my hydration, which has always been a thing, I have a motivational water bottle, the one with the time tracker that shows you how much water you need to drink each hour, and then you refill it at like 1 p.m. or something like that. I'm not sure how well I'm doing lately, but I'm definitely better at drinking water because that has been a huge goal for quite a few years and I focused on it and really made it happen. I got those drink bottles for my kids as well so I can see how much water they're drinking and make sure they're drinking enough. They're a little bit on and off about using those drink bottles because I chose to get the glass ones just for hygiene and mold prevention. So they tend to use a different drink bottle at the moment, but we'll see how that goes. I love that idea. And if you're into plastic, that's a little hack that might be helpful as well for encouraging water drinking. In terms of exercise, I took my kids on a nature walk today, and yesterday we did kind of half a bushwalk, half beach walk, and I'm really happy. It's been a while since we've been into just going out for a walk. Last year we did a whole month of going and walking on the beach every day as it was getting into winter to really help with mindset and getting outside. And I really want to work on our fitness and our mindset because I have one kid who really thinks they don't like walks. They get quite tired. Their mindset is often like not supportive, and so they'll feel like they're getting bored and they're really not into it. But every time we do go for a walk, we always see something cool and then she realizes she likes them. So I want to do that more often, get us all more fit and into nature and seeing some cool stuff because that's excellent for dopamine. Exercise is obviously great for endorphins. And the more we do it, the more we have positive experiences. It'll build positive associations, build that positive neural network in the brain, and allow us to do more and more walks and explore more and more. So that's really cool. In terms of my own exercise, I use an Android app called Habits, and it's a habit tracker, and I track all the different exercises I want to do each day. I also just downloaded an app called Sweat, which is it has like a little video instructional on each exercise to do. So I'm doing resistance training and just body weight training, and they have a program on there. So I really wanted to work on my form and make sure I was doing the right things and maybe try some new exercises as well. And I'm really liking the app because it sets out a plan for the week. It can give me reminders for each class. There's a rest day, which is something that I've struggled with. I tend to like to do things every day. I can't remember what Gretchen Rubin calls it. But she has things like moderator versus abstainer, and people who need to do things every day or occasionally. And I'm definitely an everyday person. I never feel like I'm doing enough, or what day should be the break day. And there's like a little bit of PDA, pathological demand avoidance, there as well. If I schedule a day for rest, I kind of don't want to do the day for rest. And if I schedule a day for exercise, same deal. So for some reason, having the app do that for me is helpful. Anytime you finish a workout, you get like a medal picture on the screen, and confetti floats down and it says congrats. And then it like fills up this little meter for the week, and you can take a photo, you can share it, that you've completed that. So that's giving me some great dopamine at the moment. I also have a basic pedometer because I've noticed that my mood goes up the more I walk. If I've been really sedentary, I will not feel good. So I know that movement and outdoor time, social time, and like hydration and food and sleep, obviously, all have a really massive impact on how I feel. But I think outdoor time and movement and social time as well are the three really main things. I love just having a basic pedometer for myself. I find it really easy. I don't need another device around, but obviously devices can be great. And I'm considering whether, if we had like a Garmin smartwatch or something for my kids again and tried to have one each, then maybe they would do more steps in a day. I really want to be able to track how far they can walk without being tired, so I know what size walks we can go on. I think that would be really great to know, and also to improve their fitness as well. Measuring things and tracking them can make it just gives you that knowledge and empowers you to be able to make decisions. So I'm really into doing that where possible about the things that matter to you. It's really important to do things that matter to you. Another app that I want to mention is Dailyo, which is a mood tracker app, and it looks really cute, and you can plug in your mood, and you can customize a whole bunch of categories to what you want to track, and then it will correlate them between your mood and the different things you've done. That app looks really cool. It's called Dailyo, Daylio. So I think that's in terms of the health things. That's pretty much it. My kids are eating. Oh my God, I'm so happy because the last couple of days, my kids' meals have looked like actual meals, like not a meal, not a stir fry, not a soup, not anything mixed in, but it's looked like they've had a balanced meal, things from the different food groups in their dinner. And I didn't realize how stressful it is to feel like you're not meeting your children's basic needs, and you're stressed about it, but the relief to feel like, oh, they're eating what they need to, I don't need to worry about that. It feels like, it gives me that comparison of what it would feel like to have, quote unquote, normal parenting experience. A lot of children are fussy, but it's such a stressful thing. So if you're going through that, I empathize with you a lot, because it's so tough it's a basic parental thing is to want to feed your children well. And it's like heartbreaking when they aren't. Like, can you imagine back in the day? I love to compare things to back when we were apes. If you're an ape and your ape baby is not eating enough, you would be worried for their health. That's just natural. It's really hard as a parent to know how much you should worry, how much you should be proactive, how much you should push, and how much you should let go. And food is one of those things that I try and let go a bit, but it's so important. So just to see the vegetables and the protein, it's so relieving to meet, not every single micronutrient, but just to be having not just white food, so things that are nutrient dense, and to be having that protein as well, is an absolute relief. So hopefully we can keep moving forward in that direction. Obviously things change, things ebb and flow, but that night that I actually felt that she decided to stop eating eggs, she doesn't feel like them anymore. So it was mildly disappointing, but we will keep chugging along, and I think on the whole she is eating more foods. And my older child is getting pretty good at eating meal-like foods as well, but if it's not one, it's the other. So it was just amazing to have, I think it was last night even, it was probably last night and tonight, just to feel relaxed and safe and like I've done my job. I've fed them, I can get them to bed. Struggling with the most basic things is huge, and because it's every day, it might feel like a part of every day, but it's not. When I use the word normal, I don't mean it like a bad thing, but it's not a baseline experience. If you didn't have children, you wouldn't be like struggling over brushing teeth every day. You would just be doing it and you could move on. And I think we get used to the struggle and forget and don't realize that it's actually a huge thing that you're going through. It uses a lot of those energon cubes to herd the cats, as they say, and get kids to do things. And especially when it's these things that are like their basic needs, you have to get them to do it. It is your job as parent. And I'm not saying you're a bad parent if you don't. I'm saying as a parent, you probably feel compelled to get those things happening, at least in some way. So when there's struggle over brushing teeth, over getting dressed, over eating food, over drinking water, over getting out of the house, over being social, over getting to sleep, your nervous system, your poor nervous system is going through some stuff every day. And we can forget that and think that just, watching some TV in the evening or whatever you do can reset it. But that's going to be in there, and it's in your neurological wiring, and you're going to expect that every day. And so your body's just going to wake up or see your kids in the morning with this baseline of stress. And that's really hard. So if things are feeling hard or difficult, or you feel tired, just acknowledge that. I really want you to acknowledge that it's a struggle. And, sorry, I'm really focused on the kid lens there. If you are an adult with or without kids and you're struggling in those things for yourself, you can feel disappointed in yourself, shameful, frustrated, or just like it's really hard, like you're pushing a rock up a hill. So really acknowledge all the effort you're putting in and all the things that you're doing, and find those hacks and strategies that work for you, and work on one thing at a time. Every little bit of progress is progress. And sometimes you take some steps back, but you'll always be moving forward as long as you are trying. Try something different, and then you might get a different outcome. And if it doesn't work, try something else again. And I know I've been through this, like I say, working on things for 17 years, and finally the last few years really felt like I have most things under control because I worked on one thing at a time and found the thing that worked for it. Okay, moved on to the next problem. Try things, trial and error, found the thing that works. Maybe it doesn't work anymore, try a different thing, find the thing. And then the more you do that, the more your life starts to feel steady, because you're just fixing one little problem at a time. It's like a table with wobbly legs. If you just tune up one leg, the table will feel a little bit more balanced. Then you might need to move on to the next table leg, balance it up. The other one might get wobbly again, but eventually your table will start to feel a bit more steady. So a minute ago, I mentioned time outside. I didn't mention the 1,000 Hours Outside app. I like to use that for tracking our hours outside. And to get 1,000 hours outside a year, that's 3.5 hours a day, which we don't always get. Definitely get more in summer, but I like to try and have time outside in a place that feels good. one thing I've learnt about myself is that I feel better when I'm outdoors. I was talking to someone at some point, it might have been someone like a psychologist or something, or just someone in the context of my neurodiversities, and saying about how I feel like I've found balance now to be able to get out and do these organized things and be social with people and not be so overstimulated and have autistic meltdowns or any burnout and things like that. And as I told them the things that I do, I realized that all of those things, every single thing, is outside. It's way less stimulating to be outside. I'm happy to be social. I don't even notice that I'm outside because I might just be sitting at a park or something like that. It feels like I'm going to an organized thing and being social, but it's kind of a flexible social event where there might be activities, there are things to do, but I can choose and I can walk around how I want to. I can be inside or outside, and I spend most of the time outside. And I don't notice. It's not like when I'm at home. When I'm at home, I notice that I'm outside and I'm spending time outside, mostly because it's boring at home and I need to do some things to fix that. I would love to have more comfort outside and more things pulling me outside and more shade, so we don't have to go through the whole sunscreen ordeal just to spend time outside. But these social things that I do outside, I'm very happy to do them. And I feel like my life is in a really good place because of these activities and social events that I do. They really fuel me. And I don't do things inside. On a weekly basis, there is nothing scheduled that I do inside. And I don't go to the supermarket ever. It's the worst place for me. I definitely get overwhelmed in the supermarket. I get home delivery for that. I don't love going to department stores, so I avoid that. And yeah, it's a good life. It's working for me. Obviously, you can't always avoid things, but you can tailor your life a bit to how you want to. You can say yes to some things, no to others. You can change things in your life. If you don't like your job, even, that can feel like a huge thing. But this is your life, and you get to make choices. So I'm feeling really happy with that, and the being outdoors thing and having the social time outside, that is awesome. In terms of social stuff and challenging myself, this year is definitely the year of like little getaways. There are quite a few camps and things that I've got planned socially. So that's going to stretch me because I get a bit of travel anxiety and just the packing anxiety and stuff like that. But definitely the more I do it, the more confident I feel and the more I remember the things I need to take and stuff like that. So I'm trying to be quite relaxed and chill about that. A few years ago, I put myself through like a therapy and growth process around travel. I went away once a month for 6 months, just locally within a couple of hours of where I live, and really trained myself and healed my anxiety around travel and showed myself that I can cope with things and that nothing bad happens and that I feel comfortable away from home. And that was a good thing to go through. The longer I leave it, if I leave it for quite a while, it comes back and surfaces a little bit, but I have that evidence now for the brain that I can do it. So now I'm moving into this phase of camping, which is a whole other thing. It's a little bit uncomfortable. There are extra challenges, especially with the kids. But we have had a couple of camping experiences that they've liked and they've been fine with. So we will see. That should be good. It should be an interesting year in terms of that. Other things with parenting I'm really working on. One huge thing is I want to be more playful and positive and warmer to be around. I want to say yes to bids for attention. A bid for attention is when they try to engage. It might be, hey, look at this, or can you help me with this? Or it can even be in a negative way, especially with neurodiverse kids, to get attention. it can be really easy as a parent to say not now or in a minute or soon, or any other kind of response. And I just really want to say, yeah, okay, I'll do that. So this morning, first thing in the morning, I was asked, hey mum, can you play this board game? And I was just waking up and I was almost going to say, oh no, like just let me do a few things first. Let me get up and have my breakfast, blah, blah, blah. And then I heard my daughter say, I'd really like you to play this game with me. And for her to communicate that, like her communication is improving and I really appreciate it. And it hit me and I understood and I heard her and I thought, you know what, this is not that hard for me. It's not that uncomfortable. She's in a good mood. I can switch my brain on and play this board game for her. And I thanked her for communicating that. And I told her that because she said it that way, I really understood that it was meaningful to her and that she would really like it to happen. So I said yes to that bid for connection. And I really want to work on that because I believe that relationship and connection and communication is everything, and it's the main thing in parenting, especially neurodiverse parenting. The first parenting book that ever helped me and felt relatable to me was, give me half a second to think about it, The Explosive Child by somebody. And it was all about communication. It wasn't about discipline. It wasn't about parenting. It wasn't about strategies or this and that. It was just changing a few simple ways about how you communicate. And I have since reinforced the belief that was created then that a lot of parenting comes down to communication and connection, if not all of it. So that's something I want to work on. Communication, bids for connection, being positive and playful, and neurodiverse kids and people really need a lot of praise because we have a lot of self-doubt. We hear a lot of negative messages. We have a lot of negative experiences that can lower our self-esteem. And as a parent, that can be hard because kids are challenging. And I can point out a lot of negative things to my children. So I really want to increase the praise and the positive feedback. It can be so easy to point out when kids are doing the wrong thing and overlook when they're doing the right thing. And obviously when I say wrong and right, that's subjective terms, but you get what I mean. So just looking for opportunities to praise throughout the day, like, oh, you're playing so nicely with your sister. Oh, thank you for doing that thing. Even if your kid's not doing a whole heap of stuff, because sometimes they don't. Sometimes they say no to even the smallest demands. They won't clear the table. They won't help with this or that. They can seem unthoughtful because they don't care if you're having a hard time. But sometimes they are doing things that are really great. So the more you can notice all those little things, then the more they will feel better about themselves. They'll feel better about being kind and helping people. They will create this self-belief and self-image that they are kind. Every time my eldest daughter does jobs around the house or is intentionally helpful, she feels really good and she comments on how good she feels and comments that she wants to do it more often and that it's not as hard as it seems in her head. So that praise is really important, and studies have shown that anytime there's a negative comment, to balance it out, it needs 5 positive comments. 5 positive comments. That does not happen in most families, regardless of neurotypical or not. You just might not notice, if kids are arguing, there can be a lot of negative comments. I'm sure there's plenty of families that have a lot of positive interactions, but there is a lot of just being really busy and not noticing, like I said, the bits for connection, but also those positive things. So I can't speak for every household, but I can say that I would like to increase that because I see that that's a small change with a massive, massive impact, not just on the current moment, not just on the now, not just on my kids' behaviour moving forward, but on their entire life and self-image and future, just from me being mindful, which can be difficult. So I've got reminders in my phone about that, and the more it becomes a habit, the more I will do it. The more you do something, the more you do something, the more you do something. So that's that. A lot of parenting stuff. I'm going to get down and play more. I did a play therapy training course, and I really want to schedule that into our week because it's been a few months now since I intended on doing that, but I feel constricted when I schedule things. So unless there's like an external force on it, so I just have to do that, or at least play more. And I did succeed on that a little bit yesterday. I said to my kids, could you just get out a quick board game, just a 5-minute game like Uno or something, so we can connect and play together before watching some TED Ed educational videos. And we didn't end up watching the videos. We ended up just playing board games together before bed, and it was really nice. And it's something that's been difficult to get back into. We used to do it every night after dinner, but my kids have kind of escaped into their own little worlds a bit more. Sometimes we can feel a bit like housemates because they're always reading, or just because they're a bit older now, they play with each other a lot. But it makes such a huge difference to them when we play together, when they get time with their mum. So that's important, and I want to do that more. So I feel pretty positive on the whole, actually, after talking all of this out. I'll have a think about sections about how I want to talk about this, but those are kind of the main areas in my life. There's also mood as well, which all those other things feed into. But also with mood comes things like how much TV I'm watching and how much doom scrolling I'm doing on the phone, which at the moment is too much. Too much doom scrolling for sure. I like to read a lot. I like to listen to podcasts. I like to use reading and podcasts as a way to reduce TV and scrolling. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of things. I suppose I could also have a section talking about my business goals and my plans and how I plan to kind of work that around. I think that would be cool. And maybe a focus for the week, maybe, or maybe I could just start out talking about those things and how I'm going and what I'm thinking about those things. Could be cool to have like listener questions or things my friends have been going through and my perspectives on those things. I tend to be quite stoic and optimistic at the same time. I actually have a really cool story. I'm going to share a little story with you to finish up, actually. I think this could be a really nice positive note, because you don't just want facts and figures and things about me and strategies and stuff. Here's a little tip for you, actually. Storytelling is a great way to get a message across, and it's how humans learn really well. It's how things are quite memorable when you tell things through story. And if you are in business, here comes the business tips. If you are in business using storytelling in your business, or if you've got a social media account, podcasting, if you're a writer, you write nonfiction, storytelling really helps engagement. It engages the brain. If you've ever read self-development books, which I have read hundreds, the ones that just focus on facts and how-tos are so boring, but the ones with the stories are so compelling and they're memorable, and I almost read them for the positive stories. There are lots of them, and the better the stories, the more engaging the book. Okay, let me take a little breath because my throat's getting a little bit tired, and I'll tell you this story. Okay, so it's January 21st today, and like I said, goals are going well for this year. I'm feeling pretty positive, and this year is going to be a lot about travel. My word of the year. Now, if you don't know what the word of the year is, Gretchen Rubin does it. And there's also a guiding question of the year that I think came from Danielle Laporte. It's great to have a word of the year. It can just really capture like the vibe you want for the year. I often forget mine. I write it down and then I remember it. I forget it and I remember it later. But I'm going to try and remember it this year. And I've gone a little bit abstract. In the past, I've had things like sing was last year's one, because I wanted to sing more often. I wanted to play more often, which feels like singing. I wanted to be more social, which feels like singing. I wanted to sing my message about my business and sing it from the rooftops. I wanted to feel good and be positive and courageous and have that kind of zest. I've also had magic in the past. I've had year of yay, which was about playing more with my kids. Again, that's an ongoing goal. And talking about their behavior in terms of yay or nay behavior. So a kind of positive way to just get them thinking, hey, is this good or not so good? And the vibes as well, just kind of having that adventure for life. But my word of this year is tortoise, because I want to be making progress in the things that I'm doing, but not feel the way I've felt in the past, which is that I need to get everything done at once, which is that I need to speed on forward like the hare, which is embracing moments of hyper-focus, but then maybe going through ADHD burnout. That stuff hasn't been working, and I've been simplifying and trying to shift and find the way to do things that suit me rather than like a whole team of a business company. Because I'm just one person and I homeschool my kids, and I just want to move forward through life, making progress towards my goals in a positive and relaxed way. I also, with my exercise and hydration and health, I want to live a long and happy life. And if you can imagine the giant tortoises that live to over 100, and they're just kind of plodding along, eating grass. They seem quite happy. They seem to have nice little smiles on their faces, but I might be remembering a cartoon version. I don't know. But they're really cool creatures. So that's my plan, is to enjoy life as I move forward towards creating the life of my dreams. I want to have a long and happy and chilled out but productive life. So that's my word. And here comes the story. Like I said, travel is a huge thing for the next couple months. Lots of little travel-y trips. Yep. So we set off on the first one, and I had a lot of thoughts. It was a 4.5-hour drive without stops. Actually, no, okay, they say 3.5 hours, but it's kind of 4. But when I do a couple little stops, it takes 6. So it's, it's definitely 4. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling up for this drive, but I was going to do it, and I thought I knew I'd get through. I would make it happen. I'll be positive about it. So I set off. My kids had all the things they needed, had lots of water, and I had my podcasts on. But gee, it was hot. The aircon in my car had stopped working again, and I thought I was dealing with it. I got some small fans because I thought I needed to deal with it better, and I didn't want to fix it yet again because I fixed it at least twice, and there's something going on. My lovely car, my beautiful car, is a 2003 Corolla, and Corollas can live for a long time, but I was aware that I need a new car, and I need a new car this year. I need to do it at some point, but I wasn't feeling a rush to do it, and I would go through these circular thoughts that I could just keep my car. It seems to be going pretty well. I mostly wanted a new one just for aircon and just for the more modern safety. So it was fine. I kept fixing anything that needed to be fixing. I could save money and be nicer for the environment kind of by keeping my car. But I put it on my list of things I wanted to do this year, was to upgrade my car at some point. Oh, and just the day before I left, I was chatting with a friend about this aircon problem, about how, maybe I should get a new car at some point. So I was driving along, super hot day, fans weren't helping, even having the windows open and loud wasn't helping because I had the sun blaring down on me, and it was not great. And we got, I think, an hour and a half from home, and we stopped and bought some food, and we were going to keep driving to a shady park, another 20-30 minutes down the road, so then the car could cool off because the dash was getting really hot. The air in there was just hot. We all needed cooling down. The kids weren't actually complaining. It was all me, guys. Yeah, and then had our food, kept driving 10 minutes, thinking about how hot it was, how I need a new car, and then a light came on and I pulled to the side of the road. I called advice, and the advice said, get to a mechanic, go to the nearest town, it's 9 minutes away, then stop driving. I got there, I called roadside assist, and I was very happy to be there. I had a shady spot. We had our little snack. I sat and read a book on the pavement under a tree, and there was a breeze, and gee, it was nice. I was chipper. I was like, okay, if this is what needs to happen, small problem, call the roadside assistance. Now, roadside assistance could take up to an hour, hour and a half in rural areas, but luckily there was a local in the town that I was in, so I was told it could have been quite quick. Yeah, I had got a phone call an hour later. The roadside assist guy says, where are you? I'm on the street that I was told. Is it the one in this town? I said, no, it's the one in the town that I was in the town that he was from. And he said they gave him the right street name, but they told him the other town. So he had just driven half an hour in the wrong direction. He said to me, no worries, I'll be back down in a minute. In a minute. It's a country minute. Half an hour. By this time, we wanted food. We needed the toilet. I knew he was going to be half an hour. Before then, I had no idea how long he would be. So we went looking for a toilet, found out we were right next to a pub hotel, and they had an outdoor garden. So we got some nice snacks, and I thought, okay, this is fine. This is tortoise. This is tortoise. We're just taking it slow. We needed to sit and relax and have our lunch. Guy comes. Yeah, no, probably not an easy fix for my car. So I'm freaking out a bit. I'm stressed now, not feeling quite so tortoise, not a happy tortoise anyway, and I wasn't sure what to do. I was told I could drive my car back slowly to my hometown, just make sure that light doesn't come back on, and that's what I thought I would do. I called my mum, because that's who I was going to visit, and she is a lovely person. She drove a 5-hour round trip to come and collect us so we could still have our holiday. So we waited and we spent a lot of time at the pub. We went for a walk around the lake where there was birds to watch, and this was tortoise again. It was tortoise. It was fine. It was a long day, but we weren't driving. It wasn't a long driving day. We were just having an impromptu day trip in this town that I haven't spent much time in. So it was fine. We got dinner. We looked in an art gallery. It was nice. It was relaxing and it was cool out of the car. And then I didn't have to drive any more of that big drive that I hadn't wanted to drive on. And we were in a car with aircon. So it was nice, and I'm really thankful, of course, to my mother, and I'm really glad that we still got to have our holiday because it would have been disappointing to go home. And by this point, I was a little bit stressed about my car, but I had a video call with my friend while I was waiting for my mum to drive her 2.5 hours to come and get us. And my kids were eating ice cream in the pub garden and reading books, and it was actually quite nice. And I was a little bit stressed about my car, but I was also aware of what I had been saying about my car, that I needed a new car, that it was a bit of I might need a kick in the bum before I buy a new car. And my guiding question of the year is, how will this impact me in 5 years? So I was a little bit stressed. What if this car is completely broken down? What if I should have sold it earlier and got some money for it secondhand? And I realized that in 5 years, all this would be is a funny story. It wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter about my car. I love my car. I have emotional attachment to it, but if it's done, it's done. She's lived a long, happy life. If I lose money, I lose money. I'm not going to remember in 5 years. All I'll have is a bit of a story and hopefully a new car. So we went on our holiday and I look at new cars. And I'm looking at these cars and we make a plan to go and get this car because I think I'm in a different town. I have an opportunity to look at this whole different market of cars. It's more rural. They could be cheaper. They could be different cars. And I'm happy because a lot of them have full service history, which I live in a city and maybe it's because I've been looking at older cars. Maybe there's just a wider range, but the ones I'm looking at have full service history. They all look really great. Plan to go and look at one. It's another big drive. So I tell them I can't come for 2 days. It's going to be too rainy the next day. And we've just done a big drive anyway. So we're going to go and do another 5-hour round trip with a stop to visit my grandparent in the middle. We'll make it a fun day. I sent a message in the morning at 7 o'clock or 7:30. I sent the message. They told me they'd tell me if it's sold, if anything changed. 7:30 that morning, they say, sorry, we just sold it this morning. They just sold it. Why did they sell it so early in the morning? I think they leveraged me as a way to sell it. Because if someone else is interested, they say, oh, look, someone's coming. They're going to buy it on the spot. You need to come here now. Otherwise, why would someone go buy a car at 7 o'clock in the morning? That's crazy. Anyway, so I'm going on this day trip, trying to have a fun time, kind of really stressed because I need a car. Because I don't want my mum to drive another 5-hour round trip to drive me back to my other car, which is kind of crappy. And I might have to pull over every 10 minutes and then cool the car down because of the light in the car. I'm not doing that. No, my story is that my car breaks down because I needed a kick in the bum to get a new car because I set it for a goal for this year and now it's 2024. It's January 9th at this point. And the universe wants me to have my new car. It also wants me to get rid of my old car that I said I would own for 5 years because January this year, it ticks over to owning it for 6 years. And that's a pretty funny coincidence to note. As we're driving, looking at cars, find another one similar. Is it still available? Yes, it is. Cool, can I come look at it soon? Actually, someone's coming to look at it. I'll let you know in an hour if it sells. The car sells. I ask myself, what is the lesson here? What's the lesson? Why am I not getting these cars? And it did change our plans. My mum came to visit this grandparent from my other side of the family. And that was nice. And we had a day trip. We did several stops. This is, maybe the universe has other plans that involves all this stuff. Because I was going to drive myself. Obviously, Mum wasn't going to drive me originally. And I had planned to do that on the way up. So I was going on a different day to do it. Things had reshuffled in the universe. Or am I looking at the wrong cars? Because the one thing I didn't like about the 2-3 cars I was looking at, the boot was too small. But the bigger model was more than I wanted to spend. So I thought, I think this is a lesson to actually really truly go for what I actually want and believe it's possible for me, because I've seen now it's possible. There are some great cars up here. I just want that little difference. Little difference. And I also wanted a tow ball. But I felt like if there wasn't a tow ball, I could have one attached. But I really wanted a tow ball. As I went to bed that night, I had decided, and Mum had said to me too, I need a day off thinking about cars. It had been 4 days. I was stressed. I didn't know what the plan was. I see this car pop up. It's $1,000 less than my max budget. And mind you, it was my max budget, but I was looking at cars 2-3 grand more than that because I was thinking about stretching it. But it's $1,000 less. It's got that bigger boot. It's got that full service history. It has a tow ball. The pictures looked a bit fuzzy, and Mum and I kind of went back and forth a few times, and we waited an hour before messaging the guy. I had seen the message when it just popped up. And it happens to me a lot that I will see a message like not a message, an ad, sorry, when it just pops up, and it'll be the exact right thing, and I'll have the exact right timing to be the first person. So Mum and I weren't doing that. We were going back and forth. It looks a bit grubby inside, maybe. Should we bother? Should I wait for something that is what I really want? And then we decided, look, it's worth going for. It's everything else I want. We might as well just go and look. It's another drive away. It's 3-hour round trip. It was kind of 2 to 3 hour round trip. We were all really tired, but I said, look, is the car available? And then I felt like I should open up. He said he had someone else coming to look at it. I said, that's fine. I'm really interested. Here's my situation. My car broke down. This is the exact car I've been looking at, and I've wanted this. I've decided over a year ago, this is the next car I'm going to upgrade to. I've got young kids. We've been doing all this driving, trying to get a new car. So we don't want to do the trip if we're going to get told on the way that the car's sold from under our feet. And the man said he understands. We'll be fully transparent. The person who's coming to look is going to the bank on the way. If anything changes, he'll let me know. And he doesn't want me doing the trip with kids if it's not certain. I say, okay, sounds like that guy's going to buy it then. Thank you for your communication. I really appreciate that. Next morning, my daughter's getting ready for the beach. We make a plan. We're just going to forget about cars. I was finding it hard to let it go. I almost said, let's just drive into that nearest city 2-hour round trip and just buy something more than I wanted to spend. Not quite what I wanted. I just need this sorted because it's stressing me out. But then I get a message from the guy. The other guy had changed his mind. And the man who was selling the car said, if you want it, you come and get it. I won't speak to anyone else. Mark it as pending. I understand your situation. I feel better about this anyway. I empathize with your situation. Would you like it? And yes, I would like it. We went to the car. We were enthusiastic. We were hopeful. I was hoping it's what I wanted. It was so freaking clean. It was just the photos made it look bad. This car does not look like it now. There is sand in it now, and there's a few sunscreen fingerprints on the outside. And I've had it for, 2 weeks? Something like that. But then, you guys, it was so shiny. So shiny and clean and beautiful. And I drove it, and I was driving it, and I was so in love with this car. So in love with this car. My Corolla is, 21 this year. Driving this newer car, not super new, you guys. Still, 10 years old. But driving this newer car, it was so easy. It was everything I wanted. All these, things on the dashboard. I was happy. I was ready to buy this car. And I went back, and the family that we bought it from, they were the nicest family. So freaking nice. Happy for the kids to play in the yard. Happy for us to use the loo. Welcomed me inside to do all the paperwork. And I bought that car. And they said to me they really appreciated my communication. They empathized with my situation. And sometimes things are just meant to be. It feels like it was the way it was meant to work out. And I definitely agree. That whole experience and getting what I wanted and what I had planned, manifesting this car, if you want to use that word, if you don't, that's fine, into my life and having that done and upgrading my experience. Like, I love driving this car because I feel like I've just moved up that little bit. I've just solved that problem, taken that weight off my mind. I've got this new car now that I've got aircon. I've got higher safety rating. It feels great. And starting this new year fresh like this and everything working out for the best. And that little cherry on the top of the cake is not only did I get the car I want, but it came from this really positive, kind home. And with an experience that was really positive and nice and just showed that humanity is lovely. They didn't do anything amazing. They were just kind. it was no miracle, but everything just lined up and was so meant to be. And if you'll notice throughout that story, my mindset of I can deal with challenges, big things can happen, but you never know how they're going to work out in the end. And how will it impact in 5 years? And what can I let go of? What can I be hopeful for? How can I get through this? How can I emotionally regulate? How can I make fun of a challenging situation? It was a long day that day, but I was hopeful that it was worth it. If I hadn't got my car on that trip, it would have just been a frustrating story, and that's fine too. We would have got through it. We would have had a nice day trip in that town. I'd be positive and optimistic all the same. I'm grateful for my mum to help me make it work. So I'm just extra glad that it happened well. But it also builds on my travel skills. When I travelled interstate with my kids a few years ago, we had like a, 12, 14-hour day just travelling interstate because of plane delays. And same thing, I tried to make the most of it and I got through it. And the more you have challenges in life, especially one-off challenges, because ongoing ones can whittle you down, the more you have challenges, the more experience and wisdom that you grow. And you can use your mindset and your attitude to decide and choose your own experience of life. Because we experience everything not in the physical world, but in our mind. And that's a quote from someone famous who I can't remember right now. Maybe a philosopher, maybe a writer, maybe just somebody. You experience your life in your mind and you can determine that experience. Nothing is positive or negative. It's your thinking that makes it so. That's another quote from some famous person. I can't always quote who things are by because, like I say, 17 years on this personal development journey. But I will try. And I hope that's just a positive little story to end on. Some things are blessings in disguise. Okay, I want to stop there because it's an hour long. I don't plan to do podcasts this long because personally I like a 30-minute podcast and probably like to talk for 30 minutes. But we will see how things go on. And I'm really happy to be back talking. I'm always happy when I'm talking because when I'm thinking about it, and this is another little tip, sometimes when you think about the feeling of things, you think you don't like the feeling of that thing, but it's actually the concept in your mind that you're resisting. If you're not actually doing the thing, then any responses and feelings you have are just to the concept. So actually try to do the thing, see how you feel for 5 minutes. If you hate it, you can stop. If you like it, you can keep going. This goes for anything, work, play, a challenging thing, a task that you're avoiding, whatever. Just give it a go, see how you feel. I'm going to stop talking, otherwise I'll waffle on forever, and I will chat to you in the next podcast episode. My name's Marley Darling. You can try and find me on the internet, but haven't chosen where I want to be yet. Find me on Instagram, that's a good place. Marley Darling, ADHD Energy Empress. I gotta go get my kitties to bed. They're running at me now. I gotta go. Talk to you later. Bye. What? So you've got neurodiverse kids in your life. You've probably noticed that they don't respond well to traditional parenting techniques or discipline or ways to get them motivated or to comply. Maybe you're tearing your hair out with stress and the same old struggles and fights and arguments every single day. Or perhaps you're feeling completely lost because you've tried absolutely everything and it just doesn't seem to work. These kids do not respond to behavior charts. They don't respond to power being asserted over them. What these kids need is something completely different. And what I'm going to suggest to you is you actually stop trying to change them. If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And you cannot change these children. You cannot control their behavior. But if you change something around them, you change their environment, you change how you act, it will change how they react. It will change how they respond. If you change something, then no longer will you be stuck in this cycle of doing what you've always done and getting what you've always got. And those traditional methods do not work. So stop wasting your time and energy on them.
I know you're looking for a solution and you feel like it's just not possible anymore, but let me tell you, I was in the exact same boat, and then I realized what we need is to do something radically different. My approach is to change the environment around them and to change how you interact with them, and that will have the biggest impact. It'll stop you feeling like your head is butting up against a wall, and it will start actually creating change with less effort. I believe in small, easy to implement shifts that create big change. So if you're interested in seeing what I have to offer, head over to marleydarling.com, and I've got a free webinar there for you to check out, and then comprehensive programs that cover everything I've learned in over a decade of parenting neurodiverse kids, and also in being a neurodiverse person myself who's been studying neurodiversity for over 17 years. I'm here to help you. I'm here to give a different approach, and I wholeheartedly believe that we need a radically different approach to support these children, to empower them to live the best lives possible, and to give you a bit of a break as the parent. So head on over to marleydarling.com, where you can find some free resources and maybe check out my comprehensive programs if you're ready to see a massive difference in your life through just some small shifts. See you there.